It's supposed to be in the upper 90s today, and the upper 70s for a low tonight. Tomorrow's temperature is supposed to be 100 degrees, and the heat index yesterday was 108 degrees. So we have some serious heat in the summertime. It's only July 6th, and things are really heating up. And this time of year, you can really tell that the plants are affected by the heat. Some of them will get the leaf curl, but there are a few things you can do to get the most out of your tomato plants in the short window of opportunity. Tomatoes have kind of a sweet spot temperature-wise when it comes to setting on. The nighttime temperatures between 60 and 70 are ideal. If it gets too far below 60, some of them won't set on well, and if it gets too much above 70, some of them won't set on well. So we're getting into that time of year. Since July and August are the hottest months here. Some of these plants will not set on, period, from this point on until maybe September. So in order to get more tomatoes, there's one simple thing you can do, and that's grow smaller tomatoes. Like the cherry tomatoes, they set on well in the heat. If we look at this Paul Robeson over here, it only has tomatoes in about the bottom third of the cage. But we go just over here, and this black cherry tomato has tons of tomatoes way up in the top, and then above the cage, which is 5 feet tall, we have lots more setting on it. So it's still setting on even though it's hotter than heck. And let me see, I'll straighten that up. My guess is that's probably about 7 feet tall now, and it's drooping over the top of the cage, and it will probably keep setting on the way it looks. Another tomato that is good for this type of weather, or it was last year, is Indigo Rose. It seems to set on pretty well in the heat. And another smaller tomato that sets on well is the Garden Peach. We've got tomatoes on it up here, the upper third of the cage, and it's still putting on blooms. So I'm sure some of those will set on. So that's just one thing you can do, grow some smaller tomatoes. You may not be able to slice them up for a sandwich, but you will have some tomatoes even in the heat. Another thing you can do is try to find tomatoes that set on early. The first tomato to set on for us this year was the 1884, and you can see over there it's got quite a few tomatoes on the bottom part of the plant and none in the top. Well, we won't get any late ones on that, but we are going to get lots of early ones. And another one that set on early pretty well for us is the the Black Japanese Trifle. And it's got lots of tomatoes on it, and it even has some up above the top half of in the top half of the cage. So I'm thinking it might even sit on some more tomatoes, so that's one I'm going to keep going. And when it comes to trying to get the most out of your window of opportunity for setting on tomatoes, one thing that I've learned is to get my tomatoes out early. Our frost-free date here is May 1st, And I will usually have mine out by April 15th. I just keep a close eye on the weather, and when I get to that April 15th mark, if it looks like the weather is going to be good for the next 7 to 10 days, then I go ahead and take a chance. I've been burned a few times, but I'd say 8 out of 10 times it works out pretty well for me, as long as I keep a close eye on the weather. I have had to cover them a few times, but I'll do what it takes to get more tomatoes. Anyway, those are just a few things you can do to get more tomatoes in when you have to deal with the hot weather. As you can see, we're going to have plenty of tomatoes. It's just that we won't have a whole lot of them once we get into August and September, but that's just kind of the way it goes a lot of years here. Hope this helps a few out there.